Am I the a-hole for expecting my husband to make an exception for me when I didn't make an exception for him? My husband thinks I'm a hypocrite for not cutting off my best friend who cheated on her husband multiple times. My husband and I have been married for 10 years. The only real argument we have ever had is the one we are having now. So, my best friend Cindy and her husband Mike are going through a nasty divorce, and it has caused a serious rift between my husband and I. I didn't realize how serious it was until this morning when he told me he was going to stay at his brother's house for the weekend. For context, 4 years ago my husband's best friend Alan was caught having an affair. I was friends with his wife Carol. We were not super close, but we'd get together for cocktails a few times a month and occasionally we'd go on double dates. My husband told me that Alan had been unhappy for a while because Carol had stopped having intimacy with him. When I talked to Carol, she didn't deny this. She said that Alan had gained weight and she was no longer attracted to him. Alan was a chef and started sleeping with a female co-worker 5 years younger than him. He was 35, she was 30. The affair lasted for some time before they were caught at work. It all came out, he was fired and Carol left him. I was there for Carol and the kids through it all. The divorce was ugly and costly. Suffice to say, it would take Alan years to financially recover as Carol took him to the cleaners. Throughout the whole ordeal, my husband still talked to Alan and would occasionally loan him money. The problem was I didn't want my husband to remain friends with him. I told my husband if he continues his friendship with Alan then we would have problems. After some back and forth, and me basically putting my foot down, he agreed to basically cut Alan out. We didn't need influences or people like that in our life. Alan was extremely upset when my husband told him they'd no longer be friends. They had grown up together. But I didn't want men like that in our life. Shortly after all this, we were reflecting on everything. My husband said something that I never forgot. He said, "One day one of your friends will do something they regret and need you. I hope you have the same wherewithal to cut them out if I ask you to." Cut to the present and, you guessed it. My bestie Cindy cheated on her husband Mike. Mike worked in manufacturing and was laid off. He eventually went back to work, but at a much lower wage and money was tight for them. Cindy picked up a job working as a barista. As she tells it, one of her regulars was a younger guy in real estate who had an eye for her and was constantly asking her to get together. He would slip her $100 tips a few times a week. He knew she was married. Eventually Cindy gave in and started seeing this guy regularly on her days off while Mike was working. Because she had already started an affair with someone, she threw herself into the deep end and began seeing another guy on the side too. The guy in the restaurant who gave her tips was an emotional as well as physical affair, whereas the 3 other guys she was seeing were all strictly physical affairs. She told me she always felt guilty and knew it was wrong but couldn't stop herself. She said the intimacy with the guy from the restaurant was like she'd never experienced with Mike and she felt wanted and desired it again. They were caught when their oldest daughter came home early from school because she wasn't feeling well. Cindy was busy with her affair partner, didn't see the text from her daughter, and the daughter walked in on them. The daughter told Mike. Mike was devastated and they are getting a divorce. The family has basically ostracized Cindy and want nothing to do with her currently. I and a few friends have been her support through everything. I need to say that I recognize what she did is terrible. However, my husband has pounced on this opportunity and is demanding I cut contact with her completely. Just like I did with him 4 years ago. He says, "We don't need cheating cradle robbers in our lives." I explained that this is different and the issues between Mike and Cindy are more complicated and she feels genuine remorse and wants her family back. He says he doesn't care about the issues or how she feels and that he made a sacrifice for me years ago by cutting out one of his closest friends and I need to do the same for him. I told him I wasn't going to do that and that he was being petty and vengeful and he knows the situations are completely different. This morning he said he's heading to his brother's for the weekend. He said he feels betrayed. I honestly don't see how he feels this way.